This whole area was slated for demolition. It was a throwaway district. The city didn't want it. It was full of this hodgepodge of old apartment buildings, a lot of crime. We started working on a market study though, and could see this wonderful location between Wayne State and the hospitals and downtown and the north side, and thought, why? Why are these buildings slated for demolition? So back in 1990, started to petition with the City Historic Designation Advisory Board that this really should be a historic district. We did the history of the area to get it designated as a historic district and found that the most interesting part of it was the fact that this was the neighborhood that Berry Gordy found Motown. And that was because it was all the jazz clubs were here. There were the Chesterfield Lounge and the Flame Show Bar and the Garfield Lounge, and one after another populated this neighborhood. And it was called a black and tan kind of establishments where race didn't matter at a time when race did matter. And when it came to this building, there had been 5 fires and it was in pretty rough shape. No roof in places, no walls in other places, but still enough fabric and enough building left to go ahead. But what it gave us the chance to do, especially since this was 2008, was to put into practice a lot of the theory that we'd been trying to help others with, which is how do you finance a renewable energy project? And it also just so happened that this was the time when President Obama's tax credits came into play. The building was all set to go for renovation, and it was, wait a second, engineer this over again. We're going to put in geothermal and solar. Let's see what that looks like. It was like one more step to look at how to make a renewable energy historic building work. And some extra guidelines came into play, such as you couldn't put big giant solar panels on a roof that would be visible from the street. But Cylinder had a product that laid flat and that was tubes instead of the standard snowplow looking solar panel, which turned out to be a really superior solar panel. At the same time, DTE came up with their solar currents program. So we bought into that. So it kind of fell into place, taking this really complicated idea of how do you take a historic wreck of a building and create a renewable energy project out of it. We decided, let's just do the right thing. And what would the right thing be? You preserve the building, you make it beautiful again, you make it a quality place for people to live, and you do no harm to the environment as a result. And it turned out to be this really great case study now. And it's been a fabulous building. Knowing that the rainwater that falls on the roof does not end up in the storm sewers. Knowing that the energy bills that we have are 1/4 of what they would have been if we'd used traditional heating and cooling. And knowing that every day that the sun shines, we're shaving about half of our electric bill off that day. It's not about the cheapest bottom line if it's something that's going to have an impact for the next century or more. And I think that the care for the earth, if anybody has any care for the city or care for the future of our children or care for anything, then it goes hand in hand with, if we're going to rehab a building, why would we put systems in it that aren't the most energy efficient? Or why would we do something that would create a problem down the line for another generation to solve? Our solar system is a 20 kilowatt system. We also have a solar thermal system off the back of the building, and that preheats hot water as well. So we have 2 solar systems on the rooftop. So our kilowatt on a monthly basis is 1,593 kilowatt hours per month. For the whole year, we're shaving about 15% of our total usage off our bill with the 20 kilowatts. Now, mind you, this is a 27,000 square foot building, and it's apartments as well as commercial uses. So you have 20 refrigerators and dishwashers. And we have utility or laundry on each floor. We have the tea shop with all sorts of things humming along down there. It's a 24-hour building. So what we pay for all the lights, all the electricity, not including the heat, which is the geothermal system, which is something else. For our power on a monthly basis, it ranges from $600 to $800 a month for a 27,000 square foot building. So the secret to that is that you have an energy efficient building first and foremost. So all the lights are LEDs and all the dishwashers and refrigerators are all energy savers. We have lots of windows because it's a historic building, so a lot of times you don't need to turn on lights in a unit. So we really try to stress that with energy education with our tenants when they come in. They all love the fact that they don't pay a utility bill. So we say, well, then please show us your love back and don't keep the air conditioner blasting all day when you're not home, and turn off the lights and do the right thing. So I know some households where the house bill could be that high for just a house. So we think we're doing pretty well. Too often in the building industry, the first time cost is the only cost that's considered. And when you own and operate a building for several years, you can start to see the difference. And it's really tested itself out. So we're now planning our very first brand new building that's going in across the street from us here at 71 Garfield. And to me, the greatest part about that building is that it will be off the charts with being green and renewable, and that the lessons we learned with 71 Garfield are going to be applied to that building. And so we know that solar works, we know that geothermal works, we know that the hard surfaces work, we know that the energy efficiency works. And so all those arguments of first time cost, we know you pay for the next 20, 30 years. And if you care about these things, then you realize that yes, there is a cost, but those costs only go up for operating a building as time goes on. So not only does the cost go up, but the burden on our environment goes up. So do the right thing. Do it from the start.